What is up, gents? Let's get this going. Pulling up YouTube. All right, cool. So we're live. All right, if you guys saw me at ACO, I appreciate you coming up and saying you like the channel. You're a dirtbag. Gave you some dirtbag dice. It was pretty cool. We did very well at ACO. We could have won the whole thing if I didn't flub deployment against the Blood Angels and pick fixed over tactical. But that's a completely different story. Today, we're talking about the balanced data sheet, the field manual, the core rule updates, which is just insane, and then a bunch of like other things about the new edition. Essentially, like this is going to be 10.5 for the balanced data sheet. All right, so we're going to start off. We're going to go over the balanced data sheet, like the biggest changes that I wrote down, because there's a ton. So you guys could definitely leave some comments. Let me know on if we missed anything. And then when we go up the points, there's a lot of points changes, especially for the sisters. If you guys didn't expect the sisters to change, I don't know what you're thinking. Most of the stuff you saw on battle reports for people that are playing sisters ahead of time, like Vanguard Tactics, stuff like that, it was basically 400 points over the current list, which is just brutal. But they toned it down because they raised all the points significantly. So that's like one of the main things. So let's start at the top, guys. Balanced data sheet, modifying stratagems, CP cost. This is huge. So the CP difference is any free stratagem that you have, it's only -1 to the stratagem. Instead of a free stratagem, like a 2 CP strat becomes free, it's now just -1, which most of the stratagems in the codexes are 1 CP. So now that you get a free strat, it's basically -1 CP, so it's free again. This is huge because they also made it not battle tactic. So literally anything that you have free stratagems you can use now. So this is for every army. I started flipping through most of the data sheets that I have in the Chaos Space Marine. I'm just like looking through all the stuff that we couldn't use before because of the battle tactic. I think Lords are going to be insane. I think any Lord or Space Marine captain, whatever, can do a free stratagem is going to be nuts. Custodes just lifted up significantly, I think. I think there's a lot of shield host detachments that could be really good in Custodes. And also the which we'll get down to like the actual core stratagems in a little bit, but the countercharge stratagem going down to 1 CP, there's going to be so many countercharges happening in the game. You guys have to prepare for that. Like I'm telling you now, the countercharge is going to be one of the best stratagems in the game next to rapid ingress. So you have rapid ingress and then countercharge both being 1 CP is going to be freaking nuts. Not having fixed secondaries as well is going to be pretty big, because the one thing that we could have taken fixed with, they just got rid of it. Just, all right, you can't take that as fixed anymore because everybody thought that was going to be the easiest one. That's going to be the new deploy, but that's gone. So the fixed, I think, is going to be dead unless significantly you play somebody with like 10 characters and 10 bring it down. Like it's fixed, I think, is dead. I think you're not going to see a lot of fixed armies out there. Maybe greyknights you might be able to make a fixed list, which I'm testing out, but besides that, I think fixed is just null and void. So the Grandmaster is buffed or nerfed. I think the Grandmaster is definitely buffed. You were basically playing him without the free strat anyway. So now that he could do literally anything once per game for free, I think it's a huge buff. The Grandmaster Dread Knight, I think, is dead. But besides that, I think it's just anything with a free strat is hugely buffed now because of the core stratagem. Strategy is going to be used more than once per phase. So this is the thing where you were limited to it, but they specify if it's a specific thing, like a grenade strat from Death Guard, you can use the grenade and then use the free strat because it's a specific thing. If you have 2 characters that have the free strat, you could still only use that once per battle round, like the Custodes and Chaos Lords and stuff like that. But Imperial Guard received the Imperial Fists. Yeah, so you can't, right here, restrictions, you can't bring back more than once. So the Endless Horde and Guard and stuff like that only be able to bring back once per game. That's kind of huge. Jack being able to bring back his ponies every freaking turn was kind of annoying. So that was, yeah, that's a big change. But this is a huge change to start off right away, like the first bullet point. Stratagems to prevent units from being targeted. This is also pretty big. So like T-Suns and Grey Knights, even the Death Guard Typhus. So anything that was within 18 inches, you basically just target it and null and void. So you could just kill lone operatives, but then they basically changed that to only being 12, I believe. So if the stratagem, or if a stratagem has effect of target, all right, so Haloed and Soulfire, they give a specific thing, is outside 12 you can't be targeted. They changed that to 18. So they did the Nurgle thing from Chaos, where it used to be 12 inches, then they moved it to 18. Same thing for the Haloed and Soulfire, which honestly I didn't use like really ever. Even with my Grandmaster Dreadnought, I just didn't have the CP to use it. So it's not going to be a huge difference. I think you'll be able to use this if you bring the Grandmaster with the Paladins, and you come down like 24 inches away, you just put all the side cannons into something, and then you just do a free strat, Haloed and Soulfire, or at least 1 CP, and then you can't be shot outside 18 inches. It's very, very niche. Yeah, so I think it's across the board, anything that gives you lone op. So if a stratagem has the effect that says target's unit can only be selected if the range of attack is targeted within 12 inches, or cannot be targeted if the range attack is within 12 inches, that effect is changed to say only be yeah, so I think it's really anything that gives you basically lone op. They changed it to 18 inches instead of 12 inches. And then this one, if the stratagem is added to the unit, destroyed units, so bringing something back. I think GSC, you do this as well. You can only use the stratagem once per battle. So that was a big change. Now, Death Discern is none because the codex literally just came out. They got their points hacked a lot. So Depth's Custodians, this was a huge change. So right here at the start of the battle when you can select, no, that wasn't the right here, this one. So the champions, Orc Champions, is the one I really want to test out again. So at the start of command phase, select one unit from your opponent's army until the start of the next command phase. Each time a model in an Adeptus card unit, so they changed the unit instead of model, because it used to just be the character. So you would just run all the characters around and just get the +1 to wound, but now it's the unit. So in that army that I was running, I had 2 Custodial Guard and 1 Wardens unit. So now the Wardens and Guard get the +1 to wound, which actually is pretty huge. So that's going to help out a lot with that detachment. I still think it's the best detachment for the Custodian is going to be the Shield Host, now that you can use really any stratagem for 1 CP. Then the Mechanicus, I heard like they got a huge buff with this addition. Crawl changed to movement 8, and also Crawl can move through ruins now. Same with Primarchs. That's actually a big change. Just a shit ton. Somebody like let me know who plays Adeptus Mechanicus if this is like insanely busted now, or if it's just what they really needed. Eldari, so 6 strands of fate dice. The bearer can treat the result as unmodified. So like this is huge. Once per turn, just after making a hit roll, wound roll, saving throw, the bearer, you can treat the result as unmodifying wound of 6 instead. So you can't change anybody's fate dice. It's basically the bearer. Okay, so it's just all the old stuff for Eldar. Astra Militarum. Black Templar, 14 Ductus infantry units. Vigilance can each have their abilities. 9 exaction. Yeah, really nothing crazy up there. Chaos Knights, through the models, Titanic. So this is the same as the regular knights. We knew this was coming, where now they could just move through terrain features, which is more than 4 inches of height and does not. So the thing that we didn't know was on a D6 on a 1, they become battle shocked, meaning that they can't do any stratagems or obsec 0. So that is kind of a good thing, where you do have a penalty if you do go through it. On a 1, you just become battle shocked, so that actually could come in really clutch if you guys are playing knights. The part that confused me about was the true lone operatives still not being able to be shot at 12 or 18. It's basically just the stratagems that make you lone op, essentially. So the stratagems that do that, it's 18. If you just have lone op built in, it would be 12. So that's two different things. If it's stratagem, it's 18. If it's just lone op built in, it's 12. Chaos Space Marines, this is huge. So basically, bye-bye Warp Talons. At the end of the fight phase, if this unit destroyed one or more enemy units, so they went up 25 points, and you have to have killed something to disappear, which I think is good if you added this without increasing the points, because if you did this and increase the points, they're kind of dead. If you just increase the points but keep the thing, it's fine. If you add this ability and don't decrease the points, they're fine. This kind of just kills it. So now they're 135 points. I don't think they're going to be able to trade well. If you mess up, you just lost 135 points of your army, because they usually just die. They're just basic Marines with a 5-up influence and save. So yeah, that was, I didn't even get to use mine. I was running Chaos Horde. I didn't have any Warp Talons, and every time I did use Warp Talons, I shit the bed with them, and they just died. So Warp Talons, a big 10-man, still gravy, man. Yeah, so I think the 10-man could be good with, obviously, Raiders with the +1 AP, so AP3 is just going to murder a ton. But again, if one model lives or the tank lives, they're basically dead. So you have to go into specific units and kill specific guys to then get the hell out of Dodge. 5-man unit can be very swingy. I think a 10-man is they're expensive. They're 270 points, but a 5-man could be chaff killing. Like they have to basically charge in, kill something, and disappear, and then that's it. But they're not really going to go after too many like big stuff. So I mean, as an AMAC player, most of our units go from 4 hitting on throughs to heavy now, and alone is 100%. So anything that just gains heavy is definitely a good upgrade. Also, all of our leaders get the faction rule now. That's really good. That's a huge change. Holy shit! All right, Chaos Demons, huge buff. So a lot of people got the within 6 inches of the shadows. So Bloodthirster, Great Unclean One, Kairos. You're going to see a lot of demons, guys. Like I think demons got a huge buff. 10-man Warp Talons, longer in Longworn Renegades are the best options. Yeah, so I think the Slaanesh, making them Slaanesh is really good. And then obviously the Raiders is really good. If only you could bring the Lord with the Warp Talons and do like a free or 1 CP fight first ability would be really cool. But it's just Warp Talons. So they still have their perk if you want to run 10-man, but it's whatever. Demonettes got cheap. Yes, my Demonette list with the Seekers, they are now 10 points cheaper. They're battle line, so they're going to be huge in the new edition. Yeah, the Demonettes are definitely a good addition for sure. So let me just clock out. What else? Detachment. So yeah, so I mean this honestly is huge. Bloodthirster, Shadows of the Warp, Shadows of the Warp, Shadows of the Warp. Kairos gets it. Kairos' ability for the Vect now I think is gonna be really freaking good. Everything within 12 inches just gets Vect. Keep the Secrets, same thing. Dark Angels, Grim Resolve, Detachment, new command phase, select one of the Depths of Sardes. Add one of the objective control. Did you guys see, we're going to get into this, OBSEC 0 can be no less than 0 instead of no less than 1. So I think the OBSEC shenanigans on the spawn might be good. I actually added spawn into my cultist build, so that way if they run up 8 inch, they're speed 8, so they can just advance, get within 3 inches of you, or move up 8, charge. They have D6 plus 2 attack, same as the big guys, 2 damage AP1. But if they're within 3 inches of a unit, they're -1 OBSEC. So if you're OBSEC 1, you go down to OBSEC 0. Sure, there's no minimum with that. Like, holy shit, guys, that's going to be That's gonna be a secret tech. It was Seeker's secret tech, but now it's the what the fuck are they called? The beasts. Spawn. The spawn is secret tech. I'm telling you right now. 40k Dirtbags guessed it. Inner Circle. So I think the Dark Angel's got a cool buff with the point change with the Deathwing Knights and stuff like that. They're such cool models. They also have anti-monster and anti-vehicle 4+. AP2, 2 damage. That's pretty cool. Strength 6, yeah. So that's awesome. AP2, so big upgrade there. Sweep, big upgrade. Sustain 2. And then Death Guard. So nothing crazy with the Death Guard. Oh, so this guy now gains it once per battle round instead of once per battle. So this is actually a big upgrade. He, I think, stayed the same points. Death Guard. Maybe C, D. What the fuck is Death Guard? There. So Foul Blightspawn went up 10, and then the Putrefier went up 10. All right, so it went up 10 points, but can use the grenade more than once per free grenade more than once per game. So that's actually pretty good. I'll take that. I'll take that change. You can't fall back in grenade now, which kind of sucks. Working from home and giving us the day shaper. Zach. Death Guard or indirect, yeah. So the indirect and also the character that gives you +1 to hit, kind of null and void now. So, and then we got fucking blurry. So let's not get blurry anymore. Okay. Enemy units contagion range will have the characteristics modified. And the points for the melted dude went down to 90 points. So now he's competing for the flesh mower guy. Death Watch, bolt weapons, Drakari, Incubi, Mother and Persian, Gene Seal Occult, nothing. Imperial Knights. That's cool. You can reroll 1 hit roll and reroll 1 wound roll. This is the super heavy thing. Same thing. If you roll a 1 when you're moving through a building, you're battle shocked, which is freaking huge. Make them roll. Make them roll that. And then greyknights. So this thing is the they mentioned this above. No, this is Vortex of Doom. So excluding units with lone operative that are not part of the attachment unit that and not within 12 inches of the second. So you can't kill lone operatives unless you're within 12 inches. Yeah, I used to kill all the characters in the world with this thing, but now it doesn't get around lone op. So that was we'll see. We got to test them out. And the Dread Knights are still good. Leagues of Bouten. Necrons. Nothing crazy about the Necrons, excluding monster units. Does that change anything? Does that mean you can't bring the monolith in? Orcs, Green Tide, anything crazy? 6 up. Oh wow! Each time attack targets a boys unit from your model army attachment rule. 6 up. Did that used to be a 5 up? Each time a target attacks a boys unit from your army, it contains 10 or more models. 5 up and roll and save against that attack. Maybe it's the same. I didn't get to play the boys once during ACO. they got knocked out of the brackets pretty early. T-Sons I heard just got raped in this detachment. Yeah, so you can't kill lone operatives anymore. Same thing with the Grey Knights. So Psyker, yeah. So one of the top T-Sons player ACO was just saying like they're just getting obliterated. So they had like a 60% win rate. If you were really good with T-Sons, you were winning a lot. They were super scary to go into. And then Nids. So Nids got a huge buff. So Matt Laura was talking about if he gets buffed, his list is just going to be even more insane. So great. You're probably going to see that even more often. If you didn't see that stream that we played Matt Lore at ACO, it was Chaos Cult versus his insane bug list. That's on day 2, game 3. If you guys want to go check that out, it was a really, really good list. We happened to beat him on Sights of Power, which is going away. Kind of sucks. World Eaters, Berserkers, add one of the attack and damage characters immediately equipped by the bearer once per battle. That's kind of huge. I think that was already there. All right, so nothing crazy. So that was the main things. Really, I know the armies that we play. All the other ones are kind of like, oh, cool. +1 strength and melee, even more Vanguard models for a Hansen charge. So did they not have that already for the Blood Angels? Add 2 to the strength characteristics and add 1 to the attack. So was that already there? +1 strength in the melee and even more Vanguard models for advance and charge. Yeah, Nid's buff I heard is nuts. All right, so let's go over the points. I'll start at the top. It's just red. So we all knew that this was coming. 400 points basically down. Yeah, whatever list you were making, just subtract 400 points from it. But, I mean, it was needed because they are literally busted. One of the most busted codexes, if not the most busted codex in 10th edition as of now. But everything got raised, hopefully to a significant amount that it actually does something and they don't just run through the tournament scene. Custodes, I was expecting more because the win ratio just went down. Now, what did help, actually we'll go over, instead of the points, we're going to go over this one first because a lot of the stuff in here pertains to the points changes. So the core rules update. If I miss anything, guys, make sure you comment it so that way we can go through it. So out of phase rules, I think I wrote down. So dev wounds was one of the redeploy. They added this to the tournament thing. You always redeploy prior to determining who goes first. There are still rules in the codexes that you can do it after you see who goes first. So if it says it specifically, you do it after. If it doesn't say anything and you redeploy, it's always before. Like Horon, I think they actually mention him, Horon, which sucks because he's so cool, but he always does it before you figure out who goes first. It's going to be really good in Deceptors. If you're running Deceptors, run Horon so that way you can redeploy all of your, or at least 3 of your infantry units that infiltrated. Gaining CP stayed the same. What else? Moving overhanging models. So despite water than the gap between the, so this is cool. So even though the wings are clipping the thing, you're basically measuring from the base. So that actually helps out a lot with any big models overhanging. Because some models like 3D printed, they're really, really cool. They're just so freaking big. So wings, for example, like even though you clip it, you could still move over it as long as you have enough movement to go through it. Straight line. So that helps out a lot. But the pivot, guys, we spent like 20 minutes in Discord trying to figure out how do you explain the pivot. So I'm going to try to do the best I possibly can. And we're going to use the right here. Monsters and vehicles is what it says in the thing, but we're going based off of this, the core rules tournament play. So the tournament play, every model has a 2-inch pivot unless otherwise, I'm sorry, every model that's not round base has a 2-inch pivot, including Seekers, Bikes, Tech Priest from Chaos. Anything with an oval base has a 2-inch pivot, which kind of nerfs a little bit Seekers and Bikes. So anytime you move your base, it's minus 2 inches. Like that kind of defeats the purpose of running those units. Bikes are broken with this new pivot rule. You can just so what I'm going over right now is bikes are not oval, so they count as 2 inches for pivoting. So if you charge a bike and you have to pivot, you're minus 2. Like that kind of sucks. So you have to make sure that all of your bases are exactly the same angle every time you're moving it, which is nuts. So the rules are different. I'm assuming, well, yeah, 100%. You're always going to be using the tournament rules over the core rules. So this is what we're going to be going based off of. Bikes, I got to test it out, see if it actually makes a difference. But we were talking, how do we break this? Like, how do we try and make this better for us? Yeah, I think the only thing busted was the Dark Eldar long boats, because they have a round base. So if they start sideways and then they pivot for free, they basically gain like 4 inches and then they could charge. That seems kind of stupid. Yeah, so unless like you pivot sideways and then move like, let's say 14, and then the guys can get out, you gain like an extra 4 inches of movement. I'm not sure if you could move out, get out and charge with Dark Eldar at all. Yeah, so those freaking Eldar things are so long, but the bases are so tiny, and they're circle. So you could just turn it, gain so many inches, move up, and then go do that stupid shit. Job guys all 300. Yeah, so it's kind of busted. Hopefully they fact that soon, but that's the only thing we can think of with the extra movement. Everything else kind of seems okay. So you can rotate the Venom Crawler with no penalty, because yes, so anything that is not oval you can rotate without a penalty. Hull bases, tanks, anything that's oval, you gain a 2-inch penalty by rotating it. So like the big monsters, the Dreadknights, all that stuff, you always, if you rotate them, it's just -2. So if you advance 14, you're basically advancing 12 if you have to go around and turn your oval bases. So you can rotate the Venom Crawler. Yep. Don't you only need to stay 1 base away and just keep in front? Pivot to block some space and still be base to base with 1 is still to fight. Don't you only... fuck. Alright, so barrier. Don't you only need to stay 1 base away so you can just keep... So you can just keep front row straight and take a pivot to block some space and still be base to base with... Yeah, so try not to be as confused with the pivot. I think as long as you practice it and kind of know what to look out for, just always add 2 inches. If it's circled, it doesn't really matter, because you can just pivot. Like, we're not really thinking about pivoting when we're moving. But if you're going for a charge, make sure that you're doing it correct way, where if a big base is moving up 2 and then they have to turn the base, just -2. So just count that as 2. So like move up 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, you're basically just adding 2 instead of like counting every 1 inch as you're pivoting. It's just pivot as many times as you want for 2 inches. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's go back to this. Okay. Then everything else is just, if you're circle, it's just literally the same thing. If you go straight, you basically move up 6 and then move diagonal 6, so you don't have to pivot. But if you do have to pivot, it's right here. You move up 6, pivot 2, or 6, 4 is 10, and then pivot 2 for another 2. So that's 12 inches. So that's like the example. You can pivot as much as you want in that position, but you just move up, move over, pivot, or move up, pivot, move over. Multiple pivots, so 5 and 5. So it's the same thing. So you can have as many pivots as you want. It's just the 2 inches is the negative. Just seems real nice for my Chaos Knights. Just 2-inch pivot. Yeah, so I mean, this thing here, same thing. So since it's an oval base, he moves up 6, he then pivots for 2, and then he moves over 4. So it's that's probably the best way to explain it. Yeah, I mean, it helps out. Like, it makes it more streamlined, so you don't have to measure like 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. Like, it kind of actually helps out, because sometimes you actually had to pivot like 4 inches all the way around to go around a terrain feature. Now it just counts as 2. So no matter how far you move up, pivot, it's still only 2 inches. Yeah, Heroic Intervention is going to be a game changer. Game changer. Protocols, folks. I wish I could make the frickin' text bigger. Oh, I can. Fuck yeah. I was like, I don't think I've ever made it bigger before. All right. Now I don't have to zoom in. All right. Not sure or talked about it, but abilities mimic lone operative were nerfed. Yeah, so it's the same as the Chaos lone op. They basically made it 18 inches instead of 12 inches. All right, so firing deck, they basically specified a lot of stuff that we already assumed in the tournament scene, where if you are like trying to shoot out of combat or shoot in a firing deck from Overwatch, you can't do it because you don't gain big guns never tire, stuff like that. Mortal wounds, this is huge. So dev wounds turn to mortal wounds and they don't get carried over. So this is how it should have always been when they released it, but they just suck. So mortal wounds, anything that has a mortal wound save, feeling a pain, or saves the mortal wound, like Drago. So Drago's unit now has a 4-up mortal wound / dev wound save, which is cool. All of the custodies, I think it's all the custodies, or they got rid of that. Maybe the custodies got rid of it. Dude, I honestly don't even remember. Do custodies have mortal wound saves? Is that still built in, or is that old? Custodies. It might be stratagems. Maybe stratagems. War dogs are circle bases. They don't need to pivot at all. It's nice for big boys, though. Yeah, the big boy is definitely going to... He's been running a big boy, so he loves it. So he's definitely going to be loving that 2-inch pivot move. All right, so yeah, the mortal wounds change is huge. Like, really big for some armies. And dev wounds don't just chew right through. So I think Forge Fiends, we're doing, really, really well with that. Abaddon with the dev wound. Anything really just had dev wound, it's now mortal wound saves. So that's definitely good. Okay, hazardous, same thing. You just take 3 if you're a character. If you're a model, I think you just... And then indirect definitely changed a lot. So indirect is always on a 1, 2, or 3. It automatically fails. So no way of buffing that. So it definitely was a nerf to Astra Militarum and Plague Burst Crawlers. A lot of armies that have the indirect fire, you just automatically hit on 4s instead of 2s or 3s, or ignore it with Death Guard. So Mortarion isn't as good now with the Plague Burst Crawler spam than he was prior. So that is a huge change to this edition, which makes sense because like having that in your list, it gave you a benefit, like a huge benefit. Now, even if you're heavy and you try to shoot out a line of sight, you're still only hitting on 4s. So that's actually a big change. Hazardous, they explain that you take 3 mortal wounds to the character or model that shot with it. Yeah, so I think that stays the same. Extra attacks. Nothing crazy. Devastating wounds. Yeah, so that's the same thing where it doesn't get carried over. The mortal wounds, sorry, I probably worded that wrong. Mortal wounds do get carried over, but dev wounds don't. So dev wounds, which is the biggest change, is like you take 3 dev wounds, or you take a dev wound, which is 3 damage. That doesn't get carried over like it used to. But the mortal wounds, like let's say your unit takes 7 mortal wounds from a Vortex of Doom, that does get carried over. So that was my bad if I didn't explain that right. But Lord of Virulence, yeah, it definitely affects him because if you target something, you get +1 to your hit. Not anymore. So he is probably not needed as often in Death Guard, so that's 100 points that you can save. Hazardous is huge on Vastor now. I mean, I tried it and like it was okay. Because I don't think those get carried over. I think just that model takes 3 wounds. Select 1 model from the unit, excluding character models, equipped to 1 or more hazardous weapons, and then otherwise, if it's a character model, it takes that. If the model is selected, the unit suffers 3 mortal wounds, and when allocated those mortal wounds, they are allocated to the selected model. Every gun rolls hazardous. 6 please. If you have a bodyguard model and a character and roll twice and fail once, doesn't the character always survive now? So I mean, you can allocate it to somebody with a hazardous weapon. So if you have 2 plasma guns, one on the character, one on the unit, and you roll 1-1, you can basically put it on the one on the unit, I believe. You can pick one of these. If possible, select one model in the unit that has lost one or more wounds. Otherwise, if possible, select one model in the unit excluding character models equipped with one or more hazardous weapons. Otherwise, select one character model. Yeah, I'm not sure if you have to do it in that order unless you want to put it on a character. Yeah, I really want to play Death Guard, honestly. Death Guard, I'm super excited about. You should start. Death Guard look really cool too. They're super cool. So here's another thing. Profiles that stood out to me, guys. A lot of these say nothing can be altered less than 1. But I'm not really hearing a lot of people talk about this. I don't know if I'm the only one that really brought this up, but where is it? This actually is pretty cool. So after all modifiers are applied, this cannot be less than 4 for leadership and cannot be more than 9. So I mean, this doesn't really come up a lot. Like maybe the Night Lords, you can't like have somebody like a Nurgling go to a 10 for a -2 leadership or something like that, for example. But that's not the thing right here. Objective control. So this shows how efficiently a model can exert control over an objective on the battlefield. After all modifiers are applied, this cannot be less than 0. So instead of having OBSEC 1 models, if you have a spawn or anything that minuses to the OBSEC, Death Guard says specifically no less than 1. So that specifically says you cannot go less than 1. But spawn have -1 OC within 3 inches. The unit. So if I just am within 1 model of the unit, the whole unit is -1 OC. And it's a 3-inch aura. I'm speed 8 on the spawn. I can run through buildings because I'm beast. That is kind of huge. So I always thought, I don't know if this was the same in 10th. Somebody let me know if like I just didn't see this prior. But now looking at this, I can bring a 2-man unit of spawn for 70 points, keep them behind my wall or whatever, and when somebody gets close, I can just run up, make them OBSEC 0, and just have one other cultist on the point, and I just claim it. Like that is kind of big. So that was another big thing that I wanted to write down, let you guys know. That OBSEC 0 can go down to 0. Or OBSEC 1 can go down to OBSEC 0. I thought that was cool. Weapons, everything else kind of is just explaining no less than 1. Cannot be 1+ or better. Like they didn't put that in the OBSEC. So all these are like 1. Same with armor pen. And then deep strike. If the unit with deep strike ability allows strategic reserves, and controlling player can choose the unit to be set up either using the rules. Yeah, so that was the same. Leader. Basically the same. A lot of these change, guys. So right here, battle shock step, your command phase before you take battle shock test, which I think was already the same. Alright, pass the battle shock. You cannot use a stratagem more than once per battle. This is huge. So grenades. Could it be sticky? If it stays yours, if a spawn shows up and drops your enemy to OBSEC 0. So if your thing was sticky, let's say you controlled it, right? You can't control an objective with OBSEC 0. But let's say you're Death Guard, you made it sticky in your command phase. Then a spawn runs up who is also OBSEC 0 and makes you OBSEC 0, you still own it because it's sticky. But if they don't put another model, which at any beginning of any phase, I believe, they can take away that stickiness if they controlled it. So if you're OBSEC 0 and you have it sticky and they're OBSEC 0, it's still sticky. So that stays exactly the same. But grenade, you cannot advance. So they put this little keyword in here. You cannot advance, you cannot fall back, and you cannot shoot a weapon and do a grenade. So the advance and fallback is the biggest thing that we were doing with grenades. So if I had a 2-man cultist unit and they pass their leadership test or whatever, I can fall back and just chuck a grenade at a big ass demon model like I did at ACO. That doesn't happen anymore. So you can't chuck it while you're in combat, which is already the same. And 1 grenade's model in your unit. So this is a question. Maybe I thought about this differently, but you gain the keywords, right? So if the cultist unit has the keyword grenade, is it still the cultist gain grenade? So you use the cultist model, or does it have to be the specific model that has the keyword grenade? That was I actually thought it was just like, all right, they don't get it anymore. But this says select 1 grenade's model in your unit and 1 enemy unit within and line of sight within 8 inches and visible to your grenade's model. Roll d6. So somebody lives, you can use a model in the unit. Smoothing shadows nid strat used any phase, any enemy within 12 inches of the snaps unit that failed battle shock. Roll 66 for each. Oh my god. That is insane. That's like a free strat every freaking turn. Oh, that's brutal. But yes, so does the model gain grenades or not? Somebody let me know. Command reroll. So this gives you specifically what you can use the command rerolls for. Excuse me. It's a Desperate Escape, Hazardous Charge, Advance, Attack, Wound, Damage roll, Saving throw, and this any number of attacks made by that weapon. So if you have a 2d6 weapon, you can spend 1 CP to reroll those 2d6. That actually came up at ACO. The guy rolled 2 1s. He's like, all right, do I roll 1 dice or both? And that specifically says now you can roll both dice for the reroll. And fast rolling. They brought up fast rolling, guys. So in the tournament scene, everybody fast rolls. There was a big thing coming up that like you have to tell people if you're going to reroll prior to rolling all the dice for the saves. Like, all right, if I fail, no matter what, I'm going to reroll 1. So I'm going to spend the CP automatically. Now you can fast roll like 12 dice. And if you happen to only fail one save, which kills your guy, you can then spend a CP after fast rolling to reroll again to not have your guy die. So that actually is pretty big in the tournament scene. Yeah, that actually just helps speed things up a lot and not having to waste your CP if you don't really have to. Tank shock was a big change. Just 1 vehicle from your ends of the charge. Select 1 enemy unit. So now this comes down to the toughness instead of the strength of the weapon. And it's not additional 2 dice anymore. It's just toughness. So anything like toughness 12, you're going to roll 12 dice. Anything toughness 10, you're rolling 10 dice. On a 5+, suffer 1 mortal wound. So it's not like automatic tank shocks for, people that have strength 14 or strength 20 or you get 2 extra dice, whatever it may be. It's basically just based off your toughness. So tank shock with Helldrake and Venom Crawler rolling 9 dice. Is that new? I mean, it helps with rhinos because they're toughness 9, so you can roll 9 dice instead of rolling 6. So it does kind of buff the ones that didn't have it before, but it nerfs the ones that were always using the tank shock before. Like the tank shock on the free tank shock for the big knight that was strength 20. You're rolling 22 dice. So it was basically an automatic 6 every single time. Now, since he's toughness 12, he's only rolling 12 dice. So you're losing 10 dice for the tank shock, but it's still free with the Lancer. So you're still getting a free tank shock, but it's not automatically guaranteed 6 mortal. Fuck. Feels a lot more flavorful now for sure. I mean, it definitely has its perks for just random rhinos running up and rolling 9 dice. Rhinos OP in the new edition. So you can spend a CP for a reroll and then have a captain do it again. Yes. I guess, yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, I think 10th edition is the best edition I played so far. It just makes things streamlined. They're starting to realize that you have to explain shit to people because people try and take it and break it as much as possible. And if you don't label everything that they can do or not do with the rules, they are going to bust it. That's just how it's been ever since 40k has been alive. So, like this shit, they added this because we were breaking it. Like, this is exactly why they have to give as much detail as possible so people don't bust anything. Any vehicle tank shock is spicy, yes. So it definitely helps out. Rapid ingress. Restrictions, you can same fire overwatch. So this says you cannot do, it's just Titanic, which was the same. Unit is visible to your unit. All right, so this one, guys, 1 CP. I don't know if you guys have been talking about this, but this is freaking huge. 1 CP heroic intervention. You're going to be seeing this everywhere now. You used to like make sure your opponent didn't have 2 CP so they couldn't heroic intervention. Let's say you're charging a unit on an objective and there's one really close to him. You're like, all right, you don't have 2 CP, you can't hit heroic intervention. Now it's just 1 CP. So 1 CP is going to be insanely used in every single army. Like anybody with fight first, this is just busted. Anything that has fight first or a free strat, this is nuts. You can also free heroic with the captain type abilities. Gotchas are infinite. Yep, 100%. You can also pay for rapid ingress and use jump captain to rapid his unit for free as well. 100%. Yeah, dude, heroic intervention. Just assume, like, where's our widgets? These. Everybody should be buying these widgets from us, the Dirtbag Nation, because these are going to be used every single game. It's 6 inches, so every time you make a charge, just try and stay 6 inches away from every single unit that you're around, because you're going to get heroic intervention every freaking time. That is going to be the best, probably the most used strat, honestly. I think heroic intervention, besides the full reroll, is going to be the best stratagem to be used in 10.5. Does it work with Lance? So I think since you made a charge, yes. So anytime you make a charge, you get +1 to the wound roll with Lance. So you made a charge, you don't get the charge bonus. So that just means you don't get to fight before other units. But you technically made a charge. So there's a lot of stuff that if you make the charge, you get this. Yes, that works. Melee combat is going to be taking the next level. I think melee armies are going to be just busted. You're starting already 20 inches away from the opponent. So if you are jump infantry and you're on the line, you have an 8-inch charge, turn 1. Sure, that's not even including advance and charge or +1 to your charge moves. Like, this edition's very melee heavy, and it's probably going to stay that way with heroic intervention going down to 1. Import taxes suck, man. Yes, 100%. Work out or get in Europe without breaking the bank. We would buy them. $20. $20 anything outside the US, but besides that, buy a ton of merch and maybe we'll do some free shipping. I don't know yet. Ruins of movement. So this was a change. The Primarchs now, even though they're a monster, they can move through ruins. So maybe you'll see some more Primarchs on the table. And Belisarius Call, which is the mechanical dude, and beast models. So the spawn, hopefully, are going to be used a lot now. Fight first and make intervention so strong. Newer player here. So aside from fight first, what makes the intervention? So you can steal objectives. Let's say I have a 10-man cultist unit that are all OPSEC 1 or 2. I'm just going to spend 1 CP, launch 10 guys onto the objective, and now I'm controlling the objective so you can't steal it from me. Let's say you were trying to charge my vehicle that's OPSEC 3 or something, and you have 4 OPSEC on the objective. So now that you're going to be controlling the objective, I could spend 1 CP on anybody around that tank to just heroic intervention and get onto the objective to steal it back. So that way you don't get points, you don't get VP, you don't get to control the objective. I get 5 points in my primary. If I run like a Kris cultist, I just throw 20 Kris cultist bodies on the objective for 1 CP. That's why it's busted. So yes, they're 1 OPSEC, but Trader Guardsmen are 2. And I'm running 60 of them. So yeah. Yeah, second cycle we do coaching on the Dirtbag Nation. If you are interested, definitely head over to Patreon to support us, because we do all that shit all the time on the Patreon page. So then we got again Imperial Primarch. I think the Lion. Maybe they're adding more Primarchs hopefully soon. But yeah, Primarchs can now go through shit. Visible, nothing really crazy here. And then there's a whole bunch of facts if you guys want to read through all these facts. I don't want to read through them right now. I don't know if there's anything really crazy that stood out. It might have been one at the bottom. Fight phase. Psychic abilities and attacks. So all mortal wounds inflicted by psychic ability include any cause to the unit of that ability inflicted by a psychic attack. Yes. Do Doombolt and similar abilities count as psychic attacks? So it counts as an attack now, which I think is different. Instead of it wasn't an attack and you just could do it. And then hazardous weapons, rules commentary. Anything crazy here? Base contact. No, then it goes into like the core rules. Big guns never tire. I played somebody who didn't know about big guns never tire in ACO. Like he didn't know that you can shoot at a vehicle who's locked in combat. Which, it was cool that he learned that, but that's been around since 10th came out. Here we go. Fast dice rolling. So when this rule allows you, so they actually put fast dice rolling, which is cool. Like Games Workshop realizing that nobody rolls one dice at a time. But if you roll fast dice, you can re-roll a saving throw out of the multiple wounds after that. So let's say you have a CP for a reroll or free reroll. You can roll all the dice at once if you wanted to, and then if you happen to fail one, you can then reroll it. Before, in some tournaments, they used to say like, hey, are you gonna use the reroll strat if you fail one? And you'd have to tell them prior to rolling 10 dice. Now you can just roll 10 dice, be like, holy shit, I saved all of them, or I failed only 4 of them, and I only need 1 reroll, and then I live. Like stuff like that could be used to an advantage on the tournament scene. Not Demon Primarchs, no, only the specific Primarch. I guess is there a Demon Primarch keyword? Shit, I don't know. No way. I think it's just monster, right? Is Mortarion a keyword Primarch? Demon. Oh shit, he is Primarch. Shit, now I have to go back and reread that. Shit, now you're making me go back and fucking reread something? God damn it. Keyword Primarch. What does that mean? Alright. Oh, okay. Imperial Primarch. Alright, that makes sense. Yeah, alright, that makes sense. You had me guessing there. You had me guessing. I was like, oh shit, can I actually move through shit now? Alright. More to you be in every list. So the fast rolling dice, fight on death, you can't do anything really. Like Dark Pact, and you can't Dark Pact if you don't have a target. I don't know if we went over that here, but Abaddon can't shoot if he doesn't have a target. All this stays the same. Repositioning units. Rerolls. Round bases. Was there anything else? Table quarter. Vehicles and bases. Okay, and I think there was modifying characteristics. Okay. And then this they updated. So they already gave it to us day one, which is cool. During a charge, you cannot move within engagement range of any enemy unit that was not a target of the charge. Doesn't that make it hard to pile into a second unit now? Like, no. So, again, Heroic Intervention being 1 CP, you're going to get into combat almost every single time. But you can always pile into another unit that you didn't charge. During the charge, you cannot move within engagement range. You can clear multiple charge targets with the same unit. What's up, Eric? I guess you could consolidate. Yeah, so you can still consolidate into the second unit. You basically just stop outside 1 inches of the unit that you really want to charge, like for fight first. Now, they're probably going to heroic intervention you, so this really doesn't matter anymore. But you can then pile in and attack that unit. Yeah, so just watch any of my games I did on stream at ACO. I did it a bunch of times. The Death Guard was probably the best example of it, as well as the Blood Angel player. So if you guys watch, I basically block all of his fight first units with cultists, put base to base with everybody so he can't pile in anywhere. And then I just charged one guy with the unit, and then I left all my guys outside, like right at 3 inches so they can pile in. Once he fought first and killed all my cultists, I was able to then pile into the fight first unit and then wipe them off the table. So that is a way to still get around fight first. But they updated all the missions, so I don't know what any of these things are. So it's probably going to be a whole different video. This could basically take 2 hours going through all this, but they gave us all this already ahead of time, which is cool. So we have the mission role, deployment, terrain layouts. There's so many fucking terrain layouts. There's so many terrain layouts. Why is there so many terrain layouts? It's cool they didn't change the measurements, so the measurements are the same. So if you guys are interested, we have the Rexar Lasers clear proxy bases up for sale on their website. It's in the link below. Use the code DIRTBAG for free shipping. But they have all the clear plexiglass terrain pieces, perfect for Games Workshop, and they also have the terrain pieces like this, which you can buy. They actually just updated it. They sent me a new picture, which is pretty cool. But this stayed the same right here. This used to be 2 inches off the corner. Now it's literally right against the edge there. And it's cool that they actually gave us the measurements. They never had this before. So this is really cool that they did this for us. Also, the no seeing thing is a separate area terrain section. Then this is a single area terrain section. So this means that this is all one single piece, I believe. This is one single piece, and these are 2 different pieces. So it's cool that they made that easier for us. Mission cards like hoard and recover the assets. Yeah, so we'll go over that in a little bit. Right here, it is 2 separate terrain pieces, 2 separate terrain pieces, all one terrain. So this, I think, is the same. This I've never seen before. This they changed. I think it used to have 2. This is just fucking weird. What the hell is this? It's like a... Oh my god, that's really weird. So that is weird. This is just all over the place. I don't know who came up with the terrain stuff. Between reading everything from playing Elden Ring and getting home, I want to leave and release both today. Do any of the engagement range changes let you fight through rune walls now? Still no ghosts. I mean, I haven't seen anything yet about the 1 inch thing for the ruins. I know at ACO they were playing as them as barricades, so if you couldn't actually get there, treat it as like being within 2 inches if you have if you're infantry. So it really just depends on where you're playing. You have to ask, like WTC, you could just go into a wall. So it really just depends on where you're playing and what the GT or TO wants to play it as. Then this is really cool. This is, I guess, the long table edges or the Dawn of War. So this is just going to be nuts because you basically start 20 inches away. So one unit can start there, one unit can start there. Yeah, dude, this is dumb. Hopefully we don't ever see this one. But yeah, dude, these are so weird. But again, at least they have the measurements for everything. That makes it a lot easier. So yeah, if you want to start practicing, the missions, because every mission now is a secondary mission. There's no more Chilling Reign. Chilling Reign is gone. Map seems super open. Yeah, so there's a lot of just nothing in the center. So if there's an objective in the center, there's nothing that's really going to stop shooting armies just blowing off the center objective. That's fucking wide open right there. This one's not as bad. This one could be good. Open. This one's good too. So I like number 1 and I like number 3. So 1, 3, and 7 I think are my favorites, because it does provide a lot of cover for shooting armies. It lets you hop from here to here to here, so you could like kind of play hopscotch getting to the center, or just start your entire Cursed Cultist unit here and then just advance and charge and just wipe everybody off the table. That could be fun too. What else do we got? Points. So Depthist Custodes, we were going over them. So the Depthist Custodes did not go down as much as I thought. The biggest change I saw was the Telemon, but not a lot of detachments buff him. Right here, Venatari, 165 points. They used to be 200 points. These guys might be an auto-include. Yeah. Free rapid ingress. So they're starting off the table every single turn, and they're just coming down within 3 inches of their speed. 10, I think, with Lance. Now with 1 CP for the countercharge, it's gonna be nuts. So let's say they rapid ingress. I love doing this. So with greyknights, I do this all the time. Now greyknights are gonna be even more deadly. So you come down rapid ingress, let's say on your home field objective. Another unit deep struck, or they're getting close to your home field objective for, I know there's no capture enemy outpost, but they're trying to steal your home field objective. You then rapid ingress outside 9 inches of them, which is like right behind your unit on your objective. Now they're like right next to your unit. You rapid it for free. They charge your unit. You then just spend 1 CP to countercharge, and now you're getting Lance and charging your unit. Like 1 CP heroic intervention is dumb. You're gonna be able to break it so much. Okay, Mechanicus went down a ton. Sorry, went up a ton. Wait, why did this go up a ton? Somebody let me know what this means. It's Forge. Get a 3D print. There's a 3D print thing out there that looks exactly the same. But Dustin Mechanicus, I don't understand why all this is red. Titanicus, nothing. Eldari. The ones that were used the most, I think the Irvain, 125 points. Swooping Hawks went up. Fire Dragons weren't used a ton. Warp Spiders went up, good. Sky Weavers went up, and Dark Reapers went up. And then all like the little ones went down. Yeah, so not a ton. I mean, the Swooping Hawks and freaking Warp Spiders were used a ton. Unari list went up 300 points. Nice, good. Good. Fuck Eldar. Plus one depending on our choice. Anytime weapon scope list, depending on your choice. That's pretty cool. Pierce. 20 years in the granite. Good. Good. Shadow Specters also went up a ton. They were used a bunch. Agents didn't go down at all, which kind of sucks. I mean, she is huge, guys. We were selling the Kaldis Assassin and Cypher. Both their Vect abilities are now within 12 inches. The Kaldis Assassin can basically come up and down every single turn. You basically bring up the Kaldis Assassin for Grey Knights. You bring her down outside or right within 12 inches of the unit that you want to murder, or another Grey Knight army. And they can't miss, or it's basically 2 CP. So she is going to be, she should be in every Imperium list out there. So she's going to be used so aggressively compared to defensively. Before, she used to just be in the corner somewhere, do investigate signal, cleanse, behind enemy lines, whatever it may be. Now, you're going to be able to deep strike her kind of like in the middle of the battle, outside 9 inches of your opponent, but within 12 of something that you want to kill. And then whatever stratagem they use, armor contempt, mist, fight on death, fucking anything. Like, it is an additional CP no matter what. There's no more one vect and then they're done. It's basically everything within 12 inches is now getting 1 extra CP for the Cowled Assassin. We have her up for sale on the Discord, so if you guys need the Cowled Assassin, hit me up. And then Cypher, we're getting a Cypher model as well. That's gonna be really cool. But yeah, she is going to be everywhere now, so make sure that you get her. Astral Militarum went down a bunch. The biggest thing that out of line of sight shooting, only be hitting on 4s. That was kind of a big change, and you can't bring guys back. So once per game, you can only bring guys back. So the ponies can't be coming back every single turn. But I'm running Colexis because it's my favorite. Killed Stormlord 1v1. That's pretty funny. Black Templars went up for the Reaper and the Valiant Gladiator. Cool. They're still really good. Blood Angels didn't change at all. Chaos Demons went down, so Bellicor went down a ton. Bloodthirster went down. Demon Prince of Chaos went down. Demon Prince with Wings. Oh shit, I might be able to fit. Yes. So instead of bringing Soul Grinder went down, Soul Cannon, Plague Drones, Fiends, Demonet. So the Demonettes went down to 100. I was hoping the Blue Scribes went down, but they didn't. Beast Nurgle didn't go down either. Blue Horrors stayed at 125. That sucks. I was going to try and make Night Lords great again. You're right, they were never great. Oh yeah, so the Demon Prince list I have 6 Demon Princes of Chaos, and then allied, if I take out the Rodicus and I bring another Nurgle unit, I could bring 2 demons maybe? Demon Prince with Wings? Demon Prince with Wings, Demon Prince with Wings. Yeah, so that's 440 now. So I can bring my Demon Prince list again. Okay. Yeah, I think I was off by like 5 points before this because the Demon Princes with Wings were too expensive. Yeah, so I'm gonna play around with that list. That list should be fun. Yeah, and with Battle Line, those going down are definitely gonna help out a lot. Chaos Knights went down. The Hyperint's still freaking terrible. Despoiler down. Nice. Chaos Knights looking good. Chaos Space Marines. Brutal. 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 Did I mention Chaos Space Marines are brutal? Alright, so what mainly changed with Chaos Space Marines? Our Cursed Cultist list didn't actually change that much, which is pretty cool. So we went 7-1 at ACO with the Cultist spam. We're keeping Cypher, Dark Apostle, Dark Commune, Fabius Bile. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Cultist units, and then 6 Trader Guardsman units, 1 Rhino, 3 Cursed Cultist, Chaos Spawn, 1 Demonette, 1 Nurgle, and 1 Seeker. So that is my 2,000 point list. It's basically the same. I lost 2 Nurgle units and 1 Cultist unit, and I added a Chaos Spawn. That's it. Alright, Vindicators went up 10 points, which isn't that bad. I thought they were going to get hit a lot harder. Destructor went up 10 points, which I don't know why they did that. The Annihilator, nobody used. Cursed Cultist went up 5 points. I mean, a free scout unit, that was, 5 points more, not that much. 10-man went up 10. Havocs went up, I guess because of the AP for the Raiders, which makes sense because they are used in almost every list. Venom Crawler, I don't know why. Warp Talons definitely went up, but again, I explained this in the beginning. Either the points go up and the rules don't change, or the rules change and the points stay the same. Or the rules don't change and the points go up. So either one, doing both just kills the unit. Like, you shouldn't have done both to the Warp Talons. Like, you already killed them. Why kill them more? Legionnaires went up 10 points, which they're really good unit for Chaos. And adding like a Master of Execution in there, full rerolls to wound, like that is getting extra CP. Master Execution is silently really good with the Legionnaires, especially in Raiders. Full rerolls to hit and wound coming out of a Rhino. bait and switch. So everybody going from Chaos Space Marines are now going to go to Sisters. And then, yeah, War Dogs being Battle Line is cool too. Raptors going up. They didn't need to go up. Like, they're literally only used in Night Lords. So all the units that I was super excited about running in Night Lords, my list went up a lot in Night Lords, which doesn't freaking make sense at all. Dark Angels, Deathwing Knights went up. Ravenwing Death Shroud went up. Where's the line? Is the line not... Where the fuck is the line? There we go, 300 points. So he's the same. But he can move through buildings now. So you can basically start him behind a building and then just kind of move out and stay lone up, which is cool. Death Guard. All right, so Battleless Putrefier went up 10 because they gave us the strat being used more than once. Before, it was you can only do the free grenade once. Now you can do it multiple times, but you can't fall back and do it anymore. So you'd have to like get him into combat or kill whatever you're in combat with and then do it on your turn next turn again. But I'll take 10 points for being able to use it again multiple turns if they live. Foulblade Spawn going up 10 points for Fight First, because Fight First is going to be brutal in the new edition. Being able to spend 1 CP for the heroic intervention, that's a good 10-point change. And the Blightlord Terminator, still nobody using it. Somebody actually used it at ACO. They are like the cheapest Terminators in the game. So 155 points. It's basically 31 points at Terminator. 2 up, 4 up, toughness 5 or 6. Toughness 6. Still speed 4, so still super slow, but maybe it's worth checking them out. Maybe. Great Knight Terminators are 420 points for 10 of them. These are 310 points for 10 of them. Oh man, we got to make a list. Plague Surgeon went down, still not enough. 50 points. I think he was 60, but he should be down to like 40 because he's competing for these two. Blade Haulers went down to compete with the Blow Drone. So Blow Drone's still 90, but now the Blight Haulers are 90, which surprised me, using the one guy used 2 of them at ACO. So I think 2 of these things, or 1 or 2 of these things, like solo in your list, are going to be good, especially with the tank shock now. Nobody runs this guy. And that's it. Morty, I think, stayed the same. Mortara and Type stayed the same, which is good. Mortarian stayed the same. Death Watch went down, awesome, went down, and went down. The Akari went up 120 for 5-man. We didn't go over, but Nurglings, if you bring 6 of them now, it's 70 points instead of 80 points. So that's a cool little buff to the Nurglings. Gene Steel Call went up and down all over the place. Yellow. Some went up, some went down. Bunch of red in there. Grey Knights. All right, so Grey Knights, we got Crow going up for no fucking reason. I don't know why the hell he went up. Like that just doesn't make sense at all. Gotta clock back in. Like, my fixed list I have to completely change because of his 15-point upgrade. Why? God, he's such a cool model. Why the hell would you do that? They didn't even buff him. Like, they didn't do anything to him. It wasn't like Crow was fucking winning tournaments by himself. Dread Knight obviously went up again. Then the regular Dread Knight. Dude, 205 points. Like, and you need multiple of them to kill tanks. Plus the tank shock now isn't as good because of the hammer. So maybe the sword might be good. Hitting on 2s. Shit, maybe the sword might be good. Yeah, I think the sword might actually be better now. Let's take a look at the sword. So the Dread Knight swords, all hitting on 2s in combat with a sweep. So sweep is 10 attacks. So if you do get bogged down, instead of killing 5 guys, you can now kill 10 guys at AP1. Or it's the 5 attacks, still trying to, you know, kill vehicles, strength 10. I mean, strength 14 was good for killing vehicles. But hitting on 3s, AP2, AP3. That's tough. I mean, I think I'll just put swords on all mine. Because I didn't really get him into combat anyway. I mean, because AP2, you're still taking the Terminator to a 4-up save anyway. And you're winning on 2s. So hitting on 2s, winning on 2s. D6 damage, but you have to roll 3. Damn, that sucks. Oh well, we'll test it out. Redeemer went up a ton. I wasn't running my Redeemers, but Redeemers are really good. Maybe they're still good at 285. It's just so fucking expensive. Because everything that you're running in that list went up. Like all the Dread Knights, the Redeemers, all went up in points. So that basically means your list went up a ton over the weekend. So Grey Knight Land Raider Crusader, which nobody fucking runs, maybe that's going to be good in the new codex, because Cybolt Ammunition with AP1 would be really good on him. Stormraven Gunship, which we never ran. So Death Guard points didn't go up for the tank. The one tank with the autocannon. That didn't go up in points. But the Chaos Space Marine one did. Even though the Death Guard one's even more deadlier. No rerolls, but still. Lethal and AP3. Like, that didn't go up in points. But our Stormraven Gunship did because the Space Marines did. Like, that doesn't make sense. It's almost like they're tying Grey Knights into Space Marines, which they're completely different character or chapter. And they don't have the same rules. There's no reroll. There's no nothing. So having our Stormraven go up instead of go down is just dumb. That doesn't make sense. Nemesis Dread Knight again went up. Everything else stayed the same. So not bad. Didn't change too much. I think the changes to Grey Knights is not a huge impact. You could still basically run 3 Dread Knights, get rid of the Grandmasters, and run regular Grandmasters. I think my list now, my Dread Knight list, I posted this in the Patreon Discord, but it's Stern, Tech Marine, Dread Knight Grandmaster with the Sigil, Drago, 5 Terminators, 2 Strike Squads, 2 Interceptor Squads, 3 Dread Knights, Cal Assassin, Inquisitor Henchman. So it's still got 4 Dread Knights, 1 Tech Marine, Drago, Stern, and a bunch of small infantry units to go out and do shit. So I think that list is still really good. And then I have the new test list. Did I test that out? No, that's too many. And then the fixed list right here. So the fixed list, I got to figure out which ones would be really good for fixed. We got the Brother Captain Stern, Brotherhood Librarian, because he could still do actions and the psychic power. Grandmaster solo, or Grandmaster solo or First of the Fray. So that way he can do the fixed behind enemy lines. And then Grandmaster with Sigil, Drago, 5 Terminators with Drago, 2 Strike Squads, a Grey Knight Rhino, because if they do get bring it down, they have to try and kill your Rhino. They can't just toss it away. So that was a little cheeky kind of play. I did bring the Rhino just so they don't get a free bring it down they can get rid of. 2 Interceptor Squads so they can hop in and out of the Rhino all game. 1 10-man Paladin Squad. Inquisitor Codia so that we can get a CP if they get a CP, and then the Galladus Assassin. So that's the fixed list. I have to test out which fixed missions are going to be good for the Grey Boys. Imperial Knights went down, which is awesome. So kind of the same as the Chaos Knights. Leagues of Boats didn't get touched. Necrons went up a little bit. Doomstalker, which is really freaking good, and the rates went up. So if you're running 18 rates with the Doomstalkers, like, it was just such a good list. It's super scary to go against. Orcs, Mega Knobs went up a little bit. Weird Boy went up a little bit. Pain Boy, and the Boss Snickot. Space Marines, Land Raider Redeemer, Gladiator, Valiant, and the Crusader went down. Stormraven Gunship also went up. Space Wolves Wolfen went up, and the Cavalry, which Thunderwood Cavalry is so cool. If I ran Space Wolves, I would basically be running that list. All the Cavalry, all day, all the time. Got cheap infiltrate unit with kill team now. Oh, that's cool. Still no fix for keywords on 2 detachments. Try. Still hilariously overcosted. Still no fix to keyword. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they could have fixed a little bit with the keywords, like Grandmaster. For the Grey Knights are missing round next to battle. Like they forgot that again. it's a once per battle round. It's just once per battle. So they forgot that keyword. Do you like the Legendary Crusader at 220? I think it could bring 16 models. So you could basically put 3 units of interceptors in it and kind of just hop them out, in and out all day. It only has bolters. So I think it has an assault cannon, a melta-gun, and bolters. So it's not going to kill anything. So no, I don't really like it. Yeah, I don't really like the Crusader. Silent King not being a Triarch, Imhotep not being Overlord. Gotcha. Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. Tau went down a bunch. Tau got hit pretty hard. Brian, who's like running Tau, just said Tau is like not in the best spot right now. Hammer went up a little bit. He was running 2 of those in his list. And then Thousand Suns went down, even though all their rules got changed. So some went down, but again, the rules changed, which kind of like nerfed them a little bit. And then Tyranids got huge buff with the rules by 4 because OBSEC 0, you're probably not going to be running them anymore. The Spores, OBSEC 0, Ripper Swarms, OBSEC 0, Turvagon went down, and this guy that everybody ran went up. Rolled Ears went down. Nolan's going to like that a lot. And that's it. So those are the points. So we went over that, went over the points, and went over the core rule changes. Went over the pivot. Went over the deployments. And we'll do some individual videos on some tactics coming up in 10.5, and then we'll do individual videos on the mission changes. Shit, that was at the top, I think, here. All right, so this one, which I was super excited about, I was like, all right, maybe I can still do fixed, but then they straight up just said, no, you're not doing this as fixed anymore. So getting this as tactical, Grey Knights are going to be loving this one. This is going to be a pretty easy one to get 3 on. It's going to be somewhat difficult on some armies to get the 6 because it's going to be really hard to get in the bonus deployment zone. Assassinate stayed basically the same. Oh, it's models now instead of units. So that was a big change that they made recently. Call the Horde. So they changed this because it's based off the points in the beginning of the battle compared to this. So if you spend, the points for 20 man, it's going to be 20. When that unit player... Wow, shit. When the unit's player added that unit to their army, the points value they subtracted from the total permitted from the battle was sufficient that the unit could be posed of 20 or more models. So there's no way of getting around like spending 20 point or doing 20-man unit and just subtracting 1. But somebody did mention that the Accursed Cultist, it's based off wounds. So if there's 25 plus wounds at starting strength. So if you do... because they're under 20-man unit, so it's 16. If you do 6 big cultists and then 6 little cultists, that is under 25 wounds. So it's 18 plus 6, you're at 24 wounds. So if you do want to cheat the system, you are losing 4 wounds in the unit, but you can do 6 big guys and then 6 little guys, and then the Dark Commune, which is another 5. So that is one way to kind of get around it. But if somebody gets this and they take fixed, which they probably won't, you're only giving up 15 max for the fixed primary because they have to kill all 3 units of your Accursed Cultist. But this does help out if you were whittled down or you have like a couple models left in that unit and they get this, now they can just wipe out that little Curse Cultist unit, and then you just lose 5 points on that. So you could keep one unit at 25 plus wounds, and they're like your green unit that can keep coming back, or they're your unit that comes off in reserves. So if there's no enemy units on the battlefield, yeah, so like you have to play around with this one. Hidden supplies, otherwise player roll off. So now you roll off and move the objective marker. You get to choose which way you move it, which is cool. With the ability of the Kool-Aid Man, we should be more interested in running a big one instead of the dogs in the list. Yeah, I mean, testing the big knights are going to be fun because of the actions now. So I think it's now, if you're a character, you can charge as a big knight, and then if you're a big knight, you can shoot and do an action. So I think testing the big knights would definitely be good. And bring it down, you're only giving up 6 if they kill the big knight. And all the baby knights, they're only 2. I think they're 2 for the small knights, and if you kill big knight, it's 6. So 25 wounds, hit max chosen, and possessed as well. Yeah, that's brutal. So again, killing 10 chosen though in what's that one detachment? Iron Warriors detachment. You'd have to shoot them probably, because you're probably not going to kill them in combat unless you get the charge off. They're 5 up, feel no pain. They have toughness 5 because of bile, and they can blank 1 damage, and they're -1 to wound. So I think that's the only detachment I would run 10 chosen in. Yeah, so 10 chosen with bile in Iron Warriors. I don't think the nerf is that hard to Chaos Space Marines. I think it changes up a bunch of stuff, but I don't think they got hit that hard. Because nothing really with the detachments were that brutal. Like, people were saying they were going to lose like the -1 to Raiders, which would just kill the whole detachment. But yeah, I don't think that that changed that much, honestly. Scorched Earth. Each time a player burns an objective marker, that player scores 5 victory points if the objective marker is no man's land. What was the difference here? Each time a player... I mean, they did change Scorched Earth because now you could do it at the end of the game. Or the 5th battle round. So, like, before you couldn't do it on turn 5, which was dumb. So now you can. And then right here, so models not on a round base, that we already talked about that with the Seekers and the bikes. They have a 2-inch movement for pivoting, which kind of sucks. There goes my 18 bike Chaos Space Marine list. And then obviously they already went over all this. And yeah, so that is the big changes, guys. Hopefully this, helped you out. Got some, fun talking points in here. Let me know if I missed anything. If there's any key things you're like, holy shit, this is different in 10.5, make sure you leave it in the comments. Comment below. Head over to Discord if you haven't already. We have a ton of stuff up on the merch tab. We are giving away 10% off if you do purchase Cypher or any of the models, the Assassin, because the Assassin and Cypher are going to be huge in 10.5, like huge, probably in every single list. So if you guys purchase one of those models, all the other stuff is 10% off. That's, we're trying to get rid of the dice because this is going to be limited edition for the dice. We have a ton of dice, probably about 250, I would say, looking at the bags. We have a bunch of orange, a bunch of green, not a lot of silver, not a lot of blue, and not a lot of the black. But orange and green, which are my 2 favorite colors, a ton of those dice, they're going to be 10% off. Points changes to Warp Talons kind of suck that they're, to me, dead unless you're running 10 man in a specific detachment. Then they might not be dead, but you have to run them very carefully so they don't die, and make sure you make your charge. And then again, a bunch of the stuff is coming out. We're probably partnering up with a new guy very soon, which I'm super excited to announce that. and all the stickers are for sale on Discord as well. If you guys are interested in competitive Dirtbags, get some coaching from us on the competitive Dirtbag side. You get to message us one-on-one. We go over list ideas, tactics, any questions you guys have at any time. If you guys are the Grand Masters, we go over one-on-one coaching with the games that you're playing. You take pictures, we go over the pictures. We do once a call month to go over the RTTs or GTs that you have coming up. Or if you are at a GT, you get to hang out with us and kind of have some beers and eat, just like the boys over at ACO. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up for 40k Dirtbags. We're so close to 10,000 subs. I think we're less than 400 away now, which is freaking awesome. And guys, I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments below what we missed. Head over to Discord if you guys want to talk over there. If you guys are Patreon, you have your own Patreon Discord tab. Make sure you take advantage of that, because I'm 99% of the time in that Discord rather than the other ones. So guys, appreciate it. Good luck, and we'll see you in another video soon.